Hello gals and boys, we are going to start a new project today, or actually several projects, so let's go. Alright, so last time I teased that I was going to start work on a new pattern after having finished the prototypes for the last one, which was my drop waist tennis dress, and the new one is going to be the wrap dress. And I promise you I've actually started working on the pattern yesterday. It's right there behind me on my table, and I also pulled out one of my previous wrap dresses as a reference. However, I woke up today and I realized I need to do a little bit of creative palette cleansing. What does that mean? Mentally, I'm still kind of with the drop waist dress because I am going to do a tester call for it this week, and then I need to tweak it to release it, etc, etc, etc. So mentally, I'm kind of still with that commercial pattern. And before I start a new commercial pattern, it's always quite nice to do something just for fun and to do something that helps me get my creative juices flowing again, and also just allows me to make a few things that I just want to have in my wardrobe right now that I feel like I'm missing. Just get a fresh start before I start actually wrapping my head around the new commercial pattern, which is going to be my wrap dress. Also, I'm actually drowning in new fabrics right now. I recently went to the Stitch Festival here in London and I picked up, I think, about like 5 different fabrics, and then after that I also ordered a bunch of fabrics from Fabric Godmother and Rainbow Fabrics, etc, etc. So actually I am lacking storage for all of these beautiful fabrics. My windowsill is right here, and all of this is stored on my windowsill. This is, I want to say, 6 kilos of fabric, like easily. I can't really put that anywhere, so it's time for me to reduce my stash. And if you've been around here, you know what that means. We're gonna do a bit of a destashing video. I don't know how many projects we're gonna get through in this video because I don't actually know how many I want to make, but I do know where to start, which is I want to own a couple more poppy blouses because I just really love them. If you don't know what the poppy blouse is, it's one of my patterns that's available on my Etsy shop. The poppy blouse comes with a peplum and a simple front tie closure as well as simple sleeves. I'm gonna do exactly that today, except for I want to add some puff sleeves to my poppy blouse. And that is because I have some cute and whimsical fabrics that I feel like would just be perfect for that type of silhouette. So the first one I'm going to make from this beautiful indigo broderie on glaze that I picked up, I want to say about a month ago on Goldhog Road in London. And then the second one I'm going to make from this really fun animal print, which is not actually an animal print because it's just a floral print with a leopard painted on it. So that's what I'm going to do today. 2 poppy blouses. I just printed the pattern and I'm going to show you how I tweak the sleeves for the look that I'm going for. Alright, so I have printed and assembled my pattern. There's just a few tweaks that I have to make, and those are I need to narrow down the shoulders a little bit because with the puff sleeves it's always nicer to have a little shorter shoulders, because this was more of a cool girl approach to that type of blouse with the straight sleeve. The shoulders are quite long, but today, since we're gonna have the puff sleeves, we need to shorten them. So I have a dart here that is 1.3, so I'm gonna move that up a little bit by about, say, 1.5 centimeters. So 1.3 centimeters is the width of the dart, and then I just draw it down. So I move it up. Very simple. So I move the dart from here to here. Now I can shorten the shoulder, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do a 9 centimeter long shoulder, and I need to add the width of the dart to that, so I'm gonna do 10 and 10.3 centimeters. That's how much I need to shorten the shoulder, and then I simply go with my curved ruler and connect that new shoulder down to the end of my armhole like this. So since we said we're gonna do a shoulder of 9 centimeters, I also need to apply that same measurement to the front. Again, with my curved ruler, I just connect the dots. Easy peasy. Let me cut those real quick. All right, so now that we have adjusted the bodice, I'm gonna move on to the puff sleeve. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use this lower section of my paper right here and pop it up here so I have more space to work with. And I'm just gonna very radically, actually, first of all, widen the sleeve. So I'm gonna go all the way up to my crop lines here to make it a little wider. And then I'm also going to change the curvature of the shoulder curve. I want this to be quite dramatic. So you can see we have a higher and wider curve now. Now I'm going to cut along the crop lines like I said. And this is my new sleeve. It's quite large, as it should be for a puff sleeve. And eventually we're going to gather down the cuff with an elastic, and this is all going to be gathered into the sleeve. And that is all we need to do to adjust the pattern. And now I can cut it from both my fabrics. So because of how the print is on the fabric, I will have to fold it and refold it a couple of times. Okay, so I'm going to start with my center back, and that needs a fold. And for my leopards to not be upside down, I need to fold everything perpendicular to the grain line. So on the weft, I think that's what it's called. You have a weft, and a weft is like this, I think, and the other thing goes vertically. Anyway, so I have to just do my thing here. Alright, so there is a pattern piece for the front tie closures included in the pattern. However, I personally think you don't need this because you can just, if you work with cotton or anything that rips easily, I would actually suggest doing that instead. Just is a little bit faster. So what I'm going to do is I will rip sections of my fabric that are all the same width, and I'm actually going a little bit more narrow than what is in the pattern because I want more narrow strips of fabric. So I'm just folding this a couple of times over until I have 6 sections that I can rip. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now ideally they just come off like that. We have 1 strip done. That was a quick fix. If it gets a good press, then it also lies nice and flat, and all you do really is fold it over like this, sew it down by about 1 centimeter and overturn it, and you have a strip. All right, just cut all my pieces for my first puppy blouse. Let's see how long it takes me to put it all together. I'll start out with the boring bits first. I'm gonna start out with the straps. I'm simply folding them in half like this, and I'll sew down about the 2 centimeter mark before I then overturn them. I have 6 straps here to get 3 pairs. These bloody straps took forever to overturn, but now they're done, luckily. So next I'm going to sew in the darts in my front bust area and my back shoulder. Now I'm going to sew together front and back. So I'll just pop the back right side facing up, and then I place the front sides right sides facing down, and sew the shoulder and side seams. All right, so we have a little vest now, which looks like this when I put it on. Not much to it. Let's add the pizzazz. Alright, so since we have now sewn and serged all of our joining seams front to back, we have this little vest, and I'm thinking the next thing I am going to do is to put my facing on, and for that I have to join my facing first. So I have these pieces, which are my center front neck hole, back neck hole. They need to find together like this. Facing is done. I've immediately gone and serged the raw edge just to make it a little easier for myself. And now what I need to do is put this onto my actual neck hole, right sides facing. And I'm going to start out with the center back. So I'm placing a little notch point here. The important point is that center front, center back, as well as my shoulder seams match up. Alrighty, we have the facing attached like this, and this is the same moment in which we are going to attach our straps. We're all doing this in one go. So I have 2 shorter ones which I put on top, and then the other 2 pairs are going in the middle and at the end of my center front closures. So I'm just putting the straps in between the facing and the shell, and I'm placing them perpendicular to my seam. So on one side, on the other side, and obviously we need to make sure they're placed at the same height / distance. All right, now that that is all sorted, I'm going to sew all the way around my center front and neck hole. All right, we can now overturn everything and reveal the pretty and clean center front. But before that, we are going to cut away the tips of the corners at the top of the center front, just something like that to remove bulk. And then in the curvature of our neckline, we are just going to place a bunch of snips, and that allows us to have a nice round curve when we overturn everything. Oops, almost cut my finger. And now we are just going to turn everything right side out. I'm going to take this to my iron immediately, fold this over, and press it really nicely. Alrighty, look at this. How pretty is the neckline? I love it. Love, love, love. Now we're gonna put the sleeves in. I need to sew the sleeve inseam, which is this here. So I'm grabbing one sleeve and I put it right side stitching like this. I'll sew and serge this. So I immediately went and serged the cuff of my sleeve and folded it over by about 1 centimeter. I'm now going to sew that down, but I'm gonna leave a small section open so I can insert an elastic later. All right, so I'm now gonna grab an elastic that fits into my tunnel, and I'm going to wrap it around the section of my upper arm where the sleeve is going to sit, and I'm going to cut 2 identical length strips of the elastic, and those I'm going to feed into the tunnel with a safety pin before I then close up the tunnel and finish my cuff off like that. All right, these are gonna be jumbo sleeves. Jumbo, huge sleeves. Alright, so I now prepared the peplum by simply finishing my length. So this is the end of my peplum and this is the center front on both sides. What I also have done is I added 2 rows of basting stitches to the top edge of my peplum. All of this is about 1.20 meters wide, and all of this needs to be gathered down to the circumference of the underbust seam of my already finished top here. So what I need to do is to simply place the peplum onto the blouse right side stitching. I have a notch here in the center back point for both my blouse and my peplum. These I need to put on top of each other like this. Then I go to the center front edge of my blouse and I need to align that with my already finished piece here. And what I'll do is I fold the facing open and I just make sure that the peplum and the seam that is sewing the facing and the actual bodice together are flush on top of each other like this, because we will overturn this later. Doing this on both sides. Now that that's done, I'm just gonna find the midpoint of this one side. I'm gonna put that roughly on top of my side seam. And now I can start to gather down the peplum with the help of my basting stitches. And this is just so that I have a rough guesstimate of where what needs to go. All right, I'm excited because this looks so cute. It's exactly what I wanted. The creative juices are flowing. All right, so we are basically finished. The only last thing to do is to overturn this part here. So what I am doing is I'm taking my facing, I'm folding it backwards like this. I am pinning it down, and then I'm placing this in my machine and I re-sew this seam here that joins the peplum at the top, and I turn this corner back out. We have this beautifully finished edge right here in the center front area. So even if, for example, something flops open for a tiny little bit, you're not gonna see any raw edges. And that completes this poppy blouse. It's the next day. I'm gagged. Honestly, I am obsessed with this poppy blouse. I ordered this fabric knowing I wanted to make a poppy blouse with it. So here we are. How cute is it? I love the puff sleeves on it, which is kind of funny because I intentionally steered clear of the puff sleeves when I initially made the pattern earlier this year, because I wanted like a cool girl blouse, which is still valid, but this baby is also valid. So maybe, let's see. We have one poppy blouse. Now the plan was to make 2 poppy blouses. However, I got thinking, I have quite a lot of this broderie anglaise, and I can see this being a dress, a poppy dress, a poppy dress. Are we excited about a poppy dress? So basically it's gonna be this top sans the peplum, or actually I'm just gonna take the peplum and extend it and make it a midi skirt, and then maybe if I have enough fabric I'll add some ruffles to the bottom. Sounds cute to me. So I actually went and digitized my little Frankenstein adjusted poppy blouse, and now I have this. So this is the puff sleeve poppy version with the big sleeve. So I'm just gonna reuse those pieces, cut the top pieces, and then I'll see what I'll do with the skirt depending on how much fabric I have left. Okay, so this is how much fabric I have left. From that, I need to cut my skirt and maybe my ties. However, I'm thinking that this dress could use some like cord thingies. What do you call those? Like rope ties, maybe something a little extra, some haberdashery. So I might actually go out and get something for it later. I also need some lining for this because evidently we have some holes in the fabric and we don't want certain areas to be see-through. So I might have to pick up some fabric for that. Now the width of the fabric is 66. The embroidery actually starts. I don't want that plain cotton on my skirt. And it's quite long still. So I still have 126 centimeters length. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna cut a straight line here for starters. I'm gonna measure down 70 centimeters. That's a good length because the rest of the fabric I have I want to use for ruffles. So I'm gonna do a square of 70, which is gonna be the main body of my dress. And that the circumference of that is roughly 122 centimeters, so that's good. So that's basically my skirt sans this back here. And this is 50 exactly. Wow, that's very exact for the fact that I eyeballed it. So we have 50, which means I have two pieces of 25 each. All right, I'm gonna pop out now. It's my outfit of the day. Pretty simple, just jeans and a wool jacket and my Suzanne tote. I don't know what got into Zara, but they suddenly make denim jeans in my length. Look at that, it goes all the way to the floor. That has never happened before. I have a bone to pick with Zara, but we'll get to that later. All right, just came back from a little outing. I got everything I need. I got this beautiful cord, like twisted cord that comes on a bias tape or just a simple tape. And I know that this is actually meant for piping. However, I'm just gonna use it as is. I still think it looks cute. I also got my lining cotton that I've already cut. So I cut my facing pieces and my skirt lining, and I think we can get going. I want to get this done today, or at least I want to put the whole shell together, and then maybe I'll leave the facing for tomorrow, but let's get rocking. I'm gonna start by sewing in my darts in front and back, so bust dart and shoulder dart. All right, so darts are in. Let's join front and back. Alright, so we now have a little vest here. I have gone ahead and serged my seam allowances as well so they don't fray. I'm gonna move that to the side for now and continue with my sleeves. The first thing I'll do is I will sew together the sleeve inseams right here, and I will also immediately serge them. I also serged the length of my cuffs and I folded them over by 1 centimeter. So I'm now going to stitch the tunnel and leave a section open so I can insert my elastic, and then the sleeves are prepped for them to be inserted into the actual vest of the dress. All right, my sleeves are prepared. They look like this. And now we finalize their shape by adding them to our armholes. The top looks like this. So far everything is put together. We have our sleeves in. Let's put that to the side for now and move on to our facing, which looks a bit different today because I obviously don't want the front part of my blouse to be see-through. At the same time, I still want to stick to facing and not use lining, because if I would use the same shape of my front, then I would have to sew that into my side seams, etc, etc, etc. So since I only want to face things, this is the shape that I've given myself. Now the first thing I need to do is to sew in the darts. Let's press these. Okay, now we have something looking like this. Now we need to join it with the back facing. Okay, and this is what the facing looks like. Now it's basically a neck halter, if you will. Let's fetch our shell again. And now the exciting stuff, which is placing the facing and the shell right sides touching. So I've pinned the facing to my shell, and you can now see when I put it inside out what I meant. So I basically covered my bust area. However, at the same time, I didn't have to serge it or like sew it into my armholes and my side seams, etc., etc. So it's a bit of an unusual facing shape, but it works. So happy about that. Okay, so everything is pinned in. The straps are pinned in as well, and I paid some extra attention to making sure everything is on the same height. So when we then tie things up in front, they are matching. And now I just take this to my machine and I sew all the way around the perimeter of my neckline. All right, everything is attached. Again, I'm going to snip my seam allowance in my curved neck. And I'm also going to remove some bulk here from the center front. And now when I turn everything right sides out, we have a beautifully finished neckline, which needs a very good press for starters. Good morning, it is the next day, and I just about finished the vest last night. And when I now turn this inside out, you can really see very well what I meant with the facing, just covering the parts that needed to be covered. And you can see here now what the facing looks like on the inside. So on the back, it's really just a neckline, and in the front, it covers the bust area. And now what I'm gonna do is just finish off the haberdashery straps that are the tie closure in the front, because they're still quite raw, like this. So I'm just going to cut them angular, and then I'm gonna check if I can melt them. And I also just need to think about probably sewing up the rope here so it doesn't come undone. So now that the top of the dress is completed, I need to work on the skirt. And to remind ourselves, the skirt really is just this rectangle here that technically you could just sew up and then have the seam in the center back, but I have cut myself some pockets. So what I will have to do is actually put this in two pieces, so I have two side seams instead of one seam that will go in the back. So I really just cut open this fold here. All right, so I have now two rectangles that go on top of each other like this, and I have my pockets which need to go in here. So I just pinned front and back skirt together, and when I now take this to my sewing machine, I'm gonna start up here, sew around my pocket, lock my seam, and I start a little bit above the end of my pocket right here to close the pocket entrance just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna sew all the way down the side. All right, the pockets are in. Now when I turn the skirt right side out, this is what the pocket entrance now looks like. Nice and clean, and in need of a good press at some point. Now before I actually attach the skirt to the top, I'm going to attach my ruffle down here. So we now have one continuous ruffled piece. I've also gone ahead and serged the hem immediately, which I'm now going to fold over by a minimal amount, about like 1/4 centimeter, and top stitch so the hem is done. And then I'm also immediately going to add 2 basting stitches on that top end of my ruffle, so I can eventually ruffle down to the circumference of the hem of the actual skirt. Does that make sense? I think it does. Alright, everything is prepped for this tier to be ruffled down and gathered to the circumference of my skirt hem. So let's do that now, and then we can join top and bottom. So now we have arrived at the final act of this project. I have just basted the facing on the inside onto my actual shell, so things are staying neat and in place for when I now join the top with the skirt. Alright, the very last step, I need to join the lining for my skirt with my dress, and the lining for the skirt is really just this rectangle, same as for the skirt, but this time it only has one seam because we don't have pockets in the lining, evidently. So what I am going to try and do is to make it so that I sandwich it, that when I then fold everything down, it's going to hide away the raw edges here. So I came back from lunch just now after finishing the blue dress, and now I'm thinking about what my next project is going to be, because I'm still not done. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, probably very long. So I have this green striped fabric right here that is a medium weight fabric. It's a canvas for sure, so it has something a little denim-y about it. You could definitely make a very structured shirt out of this. You could make a dress from it. You could make trousers from it. Now, I have two inspiration pictures with a green white stripe fabric, and they are these two. Now, how do I choose? Do I make a dress? Do I make trousers? And I put it to Instagram with a poll, and so far it's like 50-50-ish, which doesn't really help because, you know, I'm 50-50 on it too. However, I'm thinking, because I have made a dress, I have made a top, I probably should make some trousers just to switch it up a little bit. And these are gonna make the funkiest, coolest summer trousers, I'm sure. I also have 3.5 meters of this, so I could still make a dress from it if I wanted to. So I fetched out this trouser pattern here that I made last year. I made this for the blue cord set that maybe some of you can remember, and the trousers were a brilliant fit there, so I think I'm going to reuse that block. However, I'm going to use my new denims, my new jeans that I bought recently, as a guide for the trouser legs, because I really like the width of these, and I don't know if I'm gonna leave them as long as these are or if I'm gonna shorten them a little bit, but I can do that in the fitting process. That's the plan. I'm now gonna put this down on paper. I have to take off my trousers obviously, and then we can get started on these trousers. Alright, so I basically traced my denims now, my jeans. This is the back, this is the front, and I extended them a little bit up here in the waist section because I want to make them high waist. And now I'm hoping that this is gonna work out. Alright, I've got 30 minutes before I meet for coffee with a friend, so let's see how far I can take this. Alright, so before I do anything else, I need to complete my front sides. That will then help me join front and back. And you can see that I cut my pockets so that the stripes are changing, so they're more diagonal. They're on a 45-degree angle here, which I thought was a cute look. And then I have the other side of the pocket right here, which I just chose to do so things are not too bulky. So the first thing I need to do is to sew these soft sides to the pocket curvature and overturn it. Right, so it is actually a Friday night after dinner. My boyfriend is currently watching a YouTube video and I am quickly gonna sew together the main corpus of this trouser project because I'm curious. I want to see how it fits, because before I left to have coffee with my friend, all I got to do was to assemble the front parts. So we have the pockets all sussed out, which is good. And now I just want to put front and back together to try on the trousers is my thinking. So I'll start with the back and I'll just put the two back sides, right sides touching. Then I will sew the center back seam, aka the butt crack seam. Then I will do the crotch seam in the front before I then sew together my trouser legs. Good news, the trousers fit. They're a little long. They need a little bit of fine tuning, but I think they are on a good way. Definitely need to adjust the crotch right here. This is not what we want, but I think I can fix that. I came down with a tiny bit of a food poisoning overnight, which was just awful. But it wasn't that bad. I'm fine, but I feel a bit depleted today, which is why I haven't spoken to the camera much, to be completely honest with you. However, I've gotten these trousers to a point where I love how they're fitted. They look good, they are comfortable, they're the right size. I have tweaked the pattern a little bit, taken away some of the center back height. I have redefined the crotch curve by taking out a little more to give myself a little bit more space, because the crotch curve was a little tight. Everything else worked out like a charm. I like the silhouette of the trousers, and now I'm actually at a point where I can attach my fly zip, which is something that I can't really teach you because I'm not that good at it, to be honest with you. I just kind of wing it every time I do it, but it helps to watch some tutorial videos on it, and I always end up fine, but I've never really mastered the art of it. So I'm now gonna insert the fly zip, and then I'm gonna do the waistband, and then we're actually done with the trousers. So let's do it. All right, I have a fly zip installed. I can't open it right now with one hand, but there is one. And now I can attach the waistband. So I'm now just putting together the waistband, starting with putting the two back waistband sides together. Okay, so we've got the waistband assembled, and now I need to fit it to my waist. Now ideally things should match up because I measured them. So let us see. Everything is well, all is well, everything fits. So now I just have to sew the waistband down, turn it over, top stitch it, add a button, and we're done. And because I'm exhausted, let's jump to the final reveal.
Wanna get
look, I think I inadvertently made the most bomb pattern blocking, color blocking outfit. Like, how cute is this puppy blouse with the striped trousers? I know it's a lot, but I think it really works. I really like it. Right, that was not planned. Anyway, let's get to my ranking. All right. Coming in at number 1 for me 100% is the poppy blouse. It just worked out brilliantly. I didn't have to change anything, obviously, because it was a pattern that I knew would work. I mean, I did change it. I changed quite a lot about it, but because it was a pattern that already worked quite well from the get-go, I think I ended up with the result that I was really looking for, and I think this is exactly what I wanted. A super cute, preppy, a little bit out there summer top that is still laid back, and it just sparks joy. So I think this comes in at number 1 for me. Coming in at number 2 are the trousers. They are also really great. I think they look really cute. They were definitely not on my bingo sheet this week. I did not know that I was going to make these, and I apologize for the little bit chaotic montage of how they came together, but I do think that they look really cute, and I can see myself wearing them a lot this summer. They're very comfortable, they're laid back, pretty chill, and I just love them. They actually almost look identical to the inspiration picture. And coming in last place, very much last place, is the poppy dress. I love the top. I think the haberdashery with the fabric looks super cute, but the shape of the skirt is not doing anything for me. I really don't like it. It's actually not very comfortable because the gate is not wide enough, so when I walk I can very much feel that the skirt constricts me. I just think the shape is not very flattering, and I would assume you agree. So I believe that this dress is very much going to become a poppy blouse again. I'm just gonna shorten the skirt, make it a top, and forget about this incident. I do still think a poppy dress would look very cute, but with a different type of skirt, not just a straight one with ruffles on the bottom. I think maybe an A-line skirt would be much better suited for this kind of design. Tell me what you think about it. Would you be interested in a poppy dress version? Also tell me if you would like me to update my pattern on my Etsy shop with this puff sleeve option. If so, I'll try to upload it this week. That was a very nice creative flurry of a week. I do feel like I was able to reset myself and just sew a little bit for fun, even though it was a little bit stressful towards the end just because I have a deadline to work to every week, which is when I upload this video. Regardless, I really enjoyed it, and next time we're gonna continue the work on the wrap dress. So see you then. Bye bye. Yeah.